by XQQ of Zeta Division, Muggle from EDG, and Psycho from Sentinels. Members of the media had the option to pre-submit questions or ask them live. We will begin with the pre-submitted questions first. And the first question goes to XQQ from Sports Kita Kushal. Going forward with the Omega stage of VCT lock-in, Zeta is the only Japanese team remaining as Detonation Focus Me was eliminated in the alpha half. Has it put you under a lot of pressure with the progression of the tournament?
XQQ コーチへの質問です。オメガブラケットでは、これから進行していく上で、ゼータディビジョンがもう日本のチームとしては、唯一のチームとなりました。この状況は何かプレッシャーのようなものを感じているのでしょうか？いかがでしょうか？
日本語で答えて大丈夫です。
大丈夫です。
日本チームラスト1人、1チームということで、大事な一戦ではあるんですけど、そこまで日本チームがあと一つっていうところにプレッシャーはそこまで感じていません。で、どちらかというと、僕らは本当にマスターズ東京での結果が大事だと思っているので、このロックインブラジル、できるだけで吸収して、いい結果を持って帰りたいなと思ってます。
So being the only Japanese team in the tournament now, it's we do think that it is important to proceed in the tournament, but we're not really feeling the pressure here. What's important for us is to be qualified for Masters Tokyo. So we want to absorb as much experience as possible in this tournament.
Thank you. Next question goes to Muggle from Sports Kita Kushal. After seeing FPX perform against Carmine Corp in the alpha stage, how would you compare the quality of Valorant in China to the rest of the world?
这个问题想问一下 EDG 的 Margo 教练，在看了在阿尔法半区FunPlus 和 KC 的一个比赛之后，您是怎么样来评判你们的一个实力对比其他赛区的一个实力呢？
看了上半区 FunPlus 和 KC 的比赛，我个人的感觉是，其实这两个队伍的实力差距并没有到很大的程度，主要还是在经验和扶持上面的一些差距吧。下半区虽然说我们的对手100T 很强，现在暂时是北美第一的水平，但是我觉得如果我们正常发挥的话，应该也不会跟他们有太大的差距。
So after seeing the game between FPX and KC, personally, I would like to say for the abilities between the two teams, I can't see the huge difference. But the reason why FunPlus can't get a win is maybe the lack of experience and also their map pool. And for us in our bracket, we're going to face against 100 Thieves first, and definitely they are the strongest team and they're the #1 team in America recently. But I think if we perform normally, there may not be a huge difference between the abilities.
Thank you. Next question goes to Psycho from Deserto Lewis. Halfway through this bracket stage, 3 NA teams are already out. Did you expect more out of those teams? Do you think it puts more pressure on Sentinels and 100 Thieves to go far in this tournament?
I think it's an unfair question given the ridiculous format that we're kind of competing in here. I mean, half of the teams are going home before you even play a match. So yeah, I mean, there's going to be NA teams that went home unless they went all the way in their side of the bracket. As far as if it applies extra pressure to us, no, I don't think any of us are feeling the pressure here. I agree with what he said. You know, we're just focused on qualifying to Tokyo and winning champions. So this is just one step along that process. We're trying to get as many experiences scrimming and competing against international teams while we're here to prepare for the league when we get home.
Thank you. Next question also for Psycho from Sports Kita. We already saw the new Sentinels roster perform for the first time at the Ludwig X Tarek Invitational. How much has the roster improved since then?
Well, at the Ludwig Tarek Invitational, we had about 4 to 5 days of practice. So obviously we're a completely different team right now. We've had a full month to get everybody situated in LA and really flesh out our protocols, communication, punch through the language barrier with our Brazilian players, and start developing our strategic depth, which I think we've done a great job of so far. And I'm excited to show what we have been working on in these upcoming matches.
Thank you. That was all for the pre-submitted questions. We will now open the floor to questions from remote media. Please use the Zoom hand raise feature if you'd like to ask a question, and we'll call on you. First question, Scott Robertson at .esports.
Thank you. This question is for Coach Psycho. In previous events, while with XSET, you somewhat took on a bit of an antagonist role with the crowd at times, but now with Sasi and Pancada on the team here in Sao Paulo, there's a strong chance the crowd's going to be behind you in your upcoming match against Fnatic. What impact do you foresee the crowd having in your upcoming match?
We're excited for the crowd. We know we're not a home team, but we do have, players who live here. Sassy literally lives in Sao Paulo. So we're really excited for the crowd support. That doesn't mean I'm not going to be an antagonist. It just means I'm not going to be doing it towards the crowd. Hopefully the crowd will be on our side and will help us in antagonizing the enemies.
Thank you. Next question goes to Antonio from Nerditude.
Hi, my question is for AGH for Etor Gaming. Etor Gaming is one of the guests from the Chinese region, which has just joined it. How is the team feeling knowing that everyone has their eyes on they?
这个问题想问一下 EDG 的 Marco 教练，其实这一次 EDG 也是受邀参加了这次的赛事嘛，那其实有很多人来关注着你们，然后所以说你有什么样的一个感觉呢？
这一次我们是代表我们赛区的2个队伍其中一支，我们是也是打那个年终那个积分赛上来的队伍，所以我觉得我们要把握好这次来之不易的那个机会，赛场上好好表现自己。
So for us, EDG is one of the 2 representatives here. And also we are the guest, and definitely we are going to focus on our own performance and try our best in this tournament.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question from Solgi at VLR/BlixGG.
Hello, this question is from Yuko. So with the chamber nerf being implemented into the game, how has this affected the roles for Kang, and what can we expect to see him on now in 2023?
这个问题想问一下 EDG 的 Marco 教练，其实是上博乐这个英雄是现在有得到些削弱的，所以想问一下，可能康它整体的一个定位会发生怎样的一个转变？可能在2023年我们能期待怎样的一个康呢？
这个英雄一开始我们是作为舰队核心去使用的，然后因为它正好跟康的那个象性很足，但是后边这个经过一连串的版本削弱之后，我们再强行拿这个英雄就会显得有点阵容上面会显得有点弱，所以也只是让康去打回他以前擅长的决斗位置，整体上队伍不会有太大的变化。
Definitely, I must say Chamber is a very important agent for the whole team because if we treated this agent as the core for the whole team, and also this agent can really fit into Kang's playstyle so well. But definitely Chamber got nerfed a bit through the metas, and also if we just would like to pick this champion, we may not have a very good composition. So we just would like to change Kang's role. Maybe he can play different champions.
All right, thank you. Next question comes from Sean Garris.
Yo, what's up, Don? You're looking good out there. So this one's coming at you.
Good to hear from you, buddy. Am I on? Hello. What's up, Sean? How you doing, buddy?
Yo, what's good, man? I'm curious what you think of the current meta after watching the alpha bracket. We saw a lot of chambers, but more importantly, we saw Loud have a lot of success with double duelist. You have Tens and Zek on your roster. Is that something, and you even experimented with it at the Ludwig Tarek Invitational. Is that something we expect to see more of throughout this tournament? Both of those players playing duelist, or is Tens going to be moving more towards initiator going forward?
Yeah, I think the meta is in an interesting spot. I think a lot of people were trying to figure it out coming into this tournament, both individually and per region. And I think that we've kind of seen the meta solidify per region. And now this is the first international event, and we're kind of seeing what's working and what's not, right? So yeah, Loud whipping out the double duelist. We've seen some other teams doing it in practice. You know, we're a team that plans to have a lot of depth, and that includes in compositions. So yeah, I mean, we'll have some double duelist comps in the back pocket. We'll have some initiator comps in the back pocket. You know, I don't want to reveal too much, but you know, we're going to be ready for anything. And we see what these teams are running, and we know who's running what and how to play against that. And we have game plans in place to deal with these different teams and what they're running. So I think you guys will be excited to see what we have cooked up and how it develops, not just initially, but as we go along throughout the tournament and throughout the league this year.
Thank you. Next question from Brandon at Esports GG.
Thank you. All justice to Psycho. You know, you just kind of mentioned what you guys cooked up. So this brings me to kind of your partner in crime and leading the charge. Def, you know, you were with him, you know, from XSET to now. I just kind of want to ask you, how has he adapted to the IGL role with these new players? And what kind of evolution have you seen from him in that role since his time on XSET to now?
He's always been a tremendous IGL. I mean, that's why I picked him up on XSET to begin with, was his in-game leading ability. I mean, I saw him as a 9 or 10 out of 10 off the bat as far as in-game leading went. And then it was just a matter of adapting our strategies and gameplay around how he likes to call and kind of fleshing that out and adding the cryo piece down the line on XSET. So, you know, here on Sentinels, I had a lot of faith bringing him in the IGL role. I still think he's doing phenomenal. I think with Sassy and Pancata, with Sassy and Pancata, we punched through that language barrier, and they're reacting to his calls very well right now. And I think that we're in a very good spot. I think that Def in particular doesn't get enough credit individually for what he does. I think a lot of people look at IGLs and just see, well, how hard can they frag? And I don't think that's fair. It's all about team performance and wins. And Rory led a team to top 5, top 6 at Champions last year, and he has no plans to stop right now. So, you know, he's firing on all cylinders. The team's firing on all cylinders. We're ready to go.
Thank you very much. Next question comes from GameSpark.
はい。X 救急コーチに質問があります。チェンバーの弱体化が入って久しいのですが、現在のメタの印象を教えてください。またそのメタの移り変わりがチームにとってどのような、影響というか、チーム作りに影響を与えたか教えてください。
もう先答えちゃっていいですか？そうですね、なんか、メタが変わったっていうよりは、本当に1個、2個前ぐらいのメタに戻ったような印象が僕持ってるので、今までチェンバーメタでほとんどのチームが、チェンバーを使ってきたんですけど、今がそれが、ジェットだったりキリジョになっただけかなと思ってます。で、僕ら全員そのメタを通ってきているので、昔のプレーを思い出しつつ、今の新しいバロラントのメタに適応しつつ、問題なくやれてると思います。
Question is, since the chamber nerf, the meta has changed quite a bit. What is your impression on the current meta, and how did it affect the team composition? And his answer is, we think that the meta is nothing new. It's more like coming back to 1 or 2 metas, reverting back to the 1 or 2 metas before. So we've been there, we've seen it all. So we now see the Jet and Killjoy. So it's just a matter of refreshing our memories and adapting back.
Thank you. Next question from Alan.
Yep. So this question is for Margot, and I'll ask first in English. So my question is, so actually you and EDG, both most players, this is your second time to go into an international stage. You have the last experience in 2022 Champions. So what is the biggest difference from last time, or should we say what is the biggest learning from last time? Margot 你好，我是 Alan， 我就直接用中文问了。我想问的是，就是因为其实你和绝大多数的 EDG 的选手都已经有上一次的冠军赛的经验了，这是你们第2次国际的比赛。那你觉得你们现在跟上一次最大的不同是什么？或者说你们从上一次最多学习到什么？
我们跟上一次，我觉得区别是在于一个训练的那个质量和态度上面。这边的训练质量会比上一次 稍微强一点，因为我们都是靠在一个屋子里边训练室，一个大的训练室，然后我们约训练赛也很方便，我们去隔壁敲敲门就可以约到。上次的话，我们还要通过网站，然后还有一些队伍他们也不会上网站那些或者撞时间之类的。然后剩下的，我觉得这一次的选手的训练赛的训练的心态上面会比上次要放松很多，上次有点太紧绷了，然后打出来的内容也会显得很紧绷。这一次我感觉我们的心态是比上次放缓的，所以我认为我们赛场上的表现也会比上次更好。
好的，好的，谢谢。
So the answer from the coach Margot was, so from compared to the last time, I must say the quality of our practice and also the attitude from all the players got better and better. Because this time it's easy for us to do scrims with other teams because all of us are in a very huge arena. It's super easy for us to just maybe to knock the door for our neighbors and we can just get some scrims with other teams because last time we need to went into the website and to try to have some scrims with other teams. And also for the men's side, I must say this time all the players, we have very relaxed men's side because last time all of us were a bit stressful. So with a very good men's side, we can perform better on stage, I believe.
好的，谢谢小安。
Thank you. Next question from Esports World.
e スポーツワールドの井ノ川です。XQ コーチに質問があります。日本に親交のある DRX もアイスボックスでピックしていた新エージェントのハーバーですけれども、XQ コーチから見て、ハーバーのポテンシャルをどのように感じてますか？
ハーバーのポテンシャルに関しては、アイスボックスがちょっと特別だと思っていて、僕たちももともと、セージとバイパーの代わりにハーバーを一人一枠で起用するみたいなことも考えてはいたんですけど、やっぱり DRX はメタの先行を行くというか、綺麗な形で収めてきてたので、本当に尊敬できますね。
So DRX has been experimenting a lot with the harbor composition on Icebox. What do you think of the potential of this agent? The answer is yes, in Icebox, we think that this map is just special. We've always also been experimenting with trading Sage and Viper into Harbor as well. But we think DRX always are ahead of the game in terms of experimenting with the new metas and new compositions. So I have lots of respect for him.
Thank you. Next question from George Geddes.
Hello. Okay, it's on. I have a question for Don. I wanted to say you look incredible, my friend. Although I don't know how hot you are in the arena there. I wouldn't be in a suit personally, but obviously got to keep up appearances. All right, fair enough. You got to keep up appearances. I understand.
That's right.
So my question will be about your opinion on your opponents. Obviously, you're coming up against Fnatic. Pretty tough matchup. Obviously, first of all, you will be coming out of the gates against arguably one of the best teams at the tournament. So I wanted to ask you, have you identified any weaknesses going into the match that you think that that you can exploit on this team?
I think it's less about weaknesses. They're a pretty well-rounded team. They're very, a very good team, right? They took 5th, 6th at Champions just like XSET did, right? We finished right alongside each other, even though we beat them in the head-to-head. So I have a lot of respect for those boys, a lot of respect for Boaster as a caller. But for us, it's less about weaknesses, more about just identifying tendencies and reactions. And, we know how these guys like to play. We understand how Boaster likes to call. And we hope to lean on some of those things, in the match. And, we know they bolstered their roster a bit in the off season. They're looking pretty sharp, but so have we, and we are too. So it's going to be a good matchup, possibly the best first round matchup in the entire tournament. I think either way, it'll be one hell of a match, but we're feeling very confident.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question for Game Watch.
Okay, so my question go to XQ, and I'll ask it in Japanese. XQ コーチに質問なんですけれども、まず、 先ほどのお話でいろんな吸収をしたいということがあったんですけれども、現地で、他のチームと何か練習であるとか、スクリームみたいなことっていうのはできているのかというのが一つ目と、あと、初戦の、相手、リワイヤーさんというところだったかと思うんですが、に対して何か対策であったりとか、どういうような戦略でいきたいかっていうところを教えていただければと思います。
じゃあ一つ目から、現地での練習はちょっと、ブラジルでのあまり良くない噂を聞いて、あまり十分にはできてないんですけど、それでも、組めるところは組んで、僕たちに必要な練習はそれなりにできてるかなと思います。本音を言えばもっとやりたいです。で、二つ目のレビアタンに関しては、どこのチームも、全チームすべて初戦は同じ条件なんですけど、今までほど情報がない状態での試合になるので、いかに自分たちの強みを押し付けつつ、試合中に適応していくかっていうのが、大事になってくるかなと思います。
So the question is, excuse you, Coach, you have mentioned that you would like to absorb as much of experience as possible in this tournament. How has the team been doing in the scrimming? And second question is, towards your first opponent, Leviathan, how have you been preparing? And the answer was, in Brazil, we have been scrimming with the local teams, but not as much as we have hoped for. So it's the absolute minimum that I have to say. And in terms of the preparation for Leviathan, it's the same condition for all of the opponents in first matchup, but as we have not much information of the opponents, our focus is to just play our games and focus on our strength and to adapt as much as possible within the gameplay.
All right, thank you. Due to the interest of time, we'll take Jinx, then Elizabeth, and then see if there's any questions in the room. Jinx?
Hello, my question is to Edward Gaming's coach. First of all, good luck with your upcoming games. My question is, Valorant has arrived in China later than rest of the world. How is the team practicing to close the gap that may be there in terms of like skill and scrims, etc.? And how much do you think login event will help doing it?
这个问题要问一下 EDG 的一个Margo 教练。那或许教练觉得现在整个中国的一个那个无畏契约的整体的一个程度和其他赛区相比，会不会有一些差距？那怎么样能够在你们的技能啊或者能力方面来得到提升呢？你有什么样属于自己的一些看法？
技能和能力是指？
就是你们整体的个人实力啊，或者说一些能力的方面。
首先我们那个这边的那个总体的队伍质量肯定跟别的赛区都是比不了的，差距可以说是比较大。然后头部队伍的水平其实也是通过一直跟亚洲多亏有 DRX 这种顶级的对手，跟他们可以一直交流，所以我们才能迅速提升，不然我们一直局限在那一个地区，我们互相练的话，其实水平会有一个上限的限制。然后我们现在个人实力上面，主要看队伍的那个整体队员的象形是偏向于打团队性的，还是说可能风格比较张扬的，然后根据这种队员的风格来决定队伍的风格整体的走向，是偏向于类似于双决斗这种比较狂野的路线，还是说我们打双烟体这种比较偏向于打默认这种进攻的那个路线？
So the answer from the coach is, I think locally for the quality of all the teams, definitely we have a huge gap with other regions. And also I would like to give my thanks to teams like DRX because definitely they are one of the top teams in Asia. And because we can have some scrims with those top teams like DRX, it's really helped us a lot to improve on our own skills and our own abilities. Otherwise, we can just reach the ceiling of our ability. And also in terms of our playstyle, it really depends on the player's playstyle because we need to decide whether the players they play super aggressively or the players can more play around the macro to play like a whole. Because if the players have a very aggressive playstyle, maybe we can choose 2 duelists comp, or if the players would like to play more as a team, maybe we can have 2 controllers inside the map.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Elizabeth?
Yes. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Awesome. Then my question is for Psycho. Hello. I hope everything's going well down there. You spoke a little bit earlier in the press conference about the quote ridiculous format. My question for you is a single Elam tournament a fair way to determine an extra slot for Masters for a region?
I would not have made that decision personally, but I understand Riot have extenuating circumstances and they have to make the best decision to put on the best event for the fans that they possibly can.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you. Are there any on-site media questions? Okay, nope. All right. Well, that concludes our first press conference of the day. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll be back with our next conference shortly.